Hello everybody, we're back at it again here. So today we're working on the AC vent. As you can see, the air conditioner is done, or the vent is done. So today we're doing air conditioner. Now, this air conditioner is sitting, or is going to sit right here, is a seam in the roof. All right, so right here is where they basically weld, and if you look at it from the inside, there are spot welds every few inches here. They weld the roof to this front section, the overcab area, I think is what they probably call it, since you can actually buy these vans without the back half on them, without any roof or walls. It's just a frame and it's just this front half. You can't buy it that way. Not that I would, but you could. So there's a seam here, so I don't want to be on this seam because this is going to be double layered and it's going to be hard steel, and I don't want to deal with trying to cut through that. So I took the brace that we have right here and I laid it out inside to get an idea of where it would sit. And so it's not going to sit on the seam because I don't want to deal with any sort of weird interactions or anything that may occur between the two sealing glues, because this is Ford's proprietary sealant right here. Should last the lifetime of the vehicle kind of thing. So I'm going in right behind that, and there's a section of the roof here, this where they corrugated it, that it's got a rounded edge. And so I'm trying to get basically right on top of that, or just behind where it goes. So we're going to go right, I think right there's a good spot. And I checked it inside just to make sure that there was nothing in the way. We're ahead of the next beam. This AC is 40 some odd inches long, and it has a little bit on the front end where the seal goes. And of course we are using the DIYVan adapters and everything again, so it sits right in the channel. It's grooved to sit in the channel and sit and have a flat surface. Once this is glued down, there's an interior piece that's metal braced that actually screws into the roof beams, and then it's glued as well, and it provides all the additional support that this AC is going to need at 100 pounds. Once we get it glued and we cut this hole, we'll drill these holes here. We'll drill these holes through, because these are the holes that line up, that the air conditioner bolts come up through from inside, and they bolt the brackets and everything together to hold the top piece. It basically makes a sandwich, right, of everything in between, and it just pulls down on the unit and squeezes it to the brace on the inside. So we'll end up drilling those holes through. We'll cut this hole. I did check with DIYVan on this, because this did not come with any sort of a gasket or anything. And they said for this air conditioner, or the air conditioner that I'm using, I will use the supplied gasket that it comes with. And so it sits, and I've checked it already, it sits along the outside edge of this adapter. So everything in between, in the middle, is just air, right? It sits basically between the hole and the outside edge is where the gasket sits. And it mounts to the AC. It's got a sticky side on it, and it mounts to the AC. I could actually probably mount it to this if I wanted to, using it sticky. I could mount it on here and then sit the air conditioner on top of it, and that may still be something that I do. There are additional pads that go that way, that go to support the end of the AC. because it is quite heavy. So I will figure out where those have to go before I glue them down. I'm assuming I should be able to just, I'm going to flip the AC up on its end and line everything up and get measurements, and then I'll figure out where the the back support needs to be, because they provide pads or a pad for that as well. Let's see. Let's go take a look at the unit itself. So this is where the inside part of the unit will be. As you can see right here, this line right here is that seam from above that they spot weld together, and you can see the spot welds in it. I don't know if you can really see them on camera too well, but there's one there and there and there and there, and they do it every few inches. Then they slather it with whatever their sealant is. The unit itself should sit behind that a little bit. I'm going to drill a hole with the adapter on top. I'll drill a hole through just to make sure I get the alignment inside here correct. Because this tape is just a placeholder, just to remind me where I was going to put it. We'll have to see if any of this foam sealant glue stuff that they put on here, whatever this stuff is, it's probably just grate foam or something. But it's some proprietary Ford thing. We'll have to see if any of this is in the way. Some of it was, there was a spot here and a spot here that were in the way before I put it on here, because I came in and looked. This wiring right here, which is for these lights, I'm gonna have to pop the clips out here. They're zip tied in. I will have to pop these clips out. These lights are gonna come out anyway, but for now I'll just pop these down so I can get them out of the way, because the interior bracket literally has bolts into this. It screws right into this section here on both ends. So I'll have to take all of this stuff down. I don't even know what this thing is, to tell you the truth. Haven't looked it up. I can figure it out someday, but not today. So everything screws in here. The bracket, the interior piece is a thin plastic piece. It's about like that, and then a 1x1, a 1-inch square metal tubing that runs the length of this. So let's go look at that now. All right, so this is the AC. As you can see, it's ginormous, but they're all relatively ginormous. This is an inverter one. So it comes, you know, it does both heating and cooling, so it's bigger than your normal. It's more like it's a mini split in jet flying over form. It's a mini split in RV roof disguise, essentially. I do have a soft start for it. I don't know if I'm going to need it, but I'm going to install it anyway. They sell it with it. It's relatively cheap, so I went ahead and got it. This piece here is the interior gasket. You can't really see it because it's huge. Or this is not the exterior. This is the exterior gasket that they provide with the AC that just glues right to the bottom of it. Has a little sticky. This is their support piece. And let's see here. In the box we have, this is the interior support from DIYVan. You can see this white piece is plastic, and then we have our 1-inch square metal tubing. It's grooved here. This is the front. So this fits in around the grooving at the very front where that seam is. And then there's additional pads and stuff in there as well. So this is the AC on its standing up on its butt. Their seal essentially attaches, and I keep stepping on bubble wrap on the floor. Their seal essentially attaches right here in that spot right there, and then it just sits down on top of the AC. These are the four bolts that come through that squeeze it through. There's a plate that mounts here because they don't use some manufacturers use a fixed piece that goes on here. That goes on here. They use a fixed piece that connects this piece, the top piece, the outdoor to the indoor unit. Tosot, which is the company I'm using if you couldn't tell from the big logo on it, they use a flexible piece that you just trim to fit. Tosot is a Gree company, Gree. So keep that in mind if you want to get one of these ACs. They are a Gree company. So if you order the same sort of adapters, that's the adapter you need. You need the one for the Gree. And I've already lined up. I've taken the roof plate and I've set it on there to make sure that all the holes lined up. They do, make sure the gasket fits. All of that sort of stuff, just to make sure that I had it in the right spot and that it was the right adapters before I start doing anything to the van. I will not, of course, be able to lift this myself. So I'm going to rent what do they call it? A materials lift. And it's like basically like a little one-man forklift kind of thing. It works similar to a forklift, but it's not a forklift. So I'm going to rent that. I'll have to go pick it up in the truck. But that's going to be it. I'm going to get all this other stuff done first before I even mess with getting that, because, you know, it's all timed. So I believe these holes here, they have these plastic holes sticking through here, here, down here. I believe these are going to be drains for any sort of condensation or anything. So the plate will fit around here, but it will leave all of those open so that if the AC it got water buildup in it or anything of that sort, it can drain right out. I will have to take this cover off. I keep totally stepping on these. Even though I moved the stupid bubble wrap, I keep stepping on it. I'll have to take the cover off to put the soft start in it. It's not really, I don't think it's going to change the weight of this thing enough to make it any difference. I'm probably not going to leave it off when I put it up there, but we'll see. Because I don't want to damage it, but I don't want to damage anything on the inside either. So we're going to get started gluing things down and up. And then we will come back once we get that done. It's a little progress report here. So this is the interior bracket. It is glued together with the super glue that they provide, which is, I like it. It's runny as hell, but man, it glues better. It holds it together. It also has the screws in the ends, which they barely fit, but they're provided, so I decided to give it a try, and they fit right in there. One thing I did have to do to this that was different is you can see the mark here. This particular mark was for where the hole I drilled through the roof to the interior of the van. This is where that mark is. When I was up looking at it and taking measurements to see how far I needed to be from here to here between the two, I determined that if I put it on this line here, I would end up nicking part of this when I finished drilling the holes through the roof for the mounting of the air conditioner itself. The bolts that go through the interior piece up into the exterior unit. So that was not a good plan, I didn't think, because it wasn't going through the middle of it. It was going to go through like the outside quarter of it, and I didn't like the idea of just nicking this. So I thought about it for a minute or four, and I determined that my best course of action would be to move this bracket to the exterior, because there is an interior bracket that the air conditioner comes with that the bolts go through that sandwich that pull the two halves, the exterior and the interior together. And with this down, or with this on the inside, with this bracket with its metal parts, it should provide enough base to squeeze those things together. And I didn't want to block anything on the inside with the bolt holes. So what I did is I did some more measuring, and I determined 1.5 inches from the inside of the exterior bracket, or the adapter, 1.5 inches from the inside of that up will clear the bolts, because the bolt holes are right here. And this is where my bracket is. So 1.5 inches gives me enough clearance. I can, if I need to wiggle it a little bit, it's slightly off. It doesn't have to be super exact. That's the important part, is the bolt hole should clear no matter what I do to put this thing in. So this is 1.5 inches from the inside of the bracket. The bottom bracket, or this bottom piece here, is the same. It is 1.5 inches. It is 15 inches from this one to here on the inside, and this would be 1.5 inches from the interior piece, or from the hole that's going to be cut. So that should be roughly about 14 inches. Yeah, well, 12. Yeah, 1.5 inches. That puts it at 12. So that's right where they say that the bracket goes, is 12. It's 12 by 14, I believe, is what the website said. Yeah, 12 by 14, because it's all the clearance you really need for this particular air conditioner. The hole doesn't need to be 14 by 14. It'll fit in a 14 by 14 hole, but 14 by 12 is sufficient. It gets you the cables, it gets all your bolts, everything should fit right in the hole. So that's where we're at now. Now all we need to do is get our braces inside set up for this. Get the braces inside set up, and then we will put some glue on this sucker, get it ready to bolt up. The only odd thing is these brackets here. So the idea is these brackets. So my plan here is take this, glue it up, use the supports to push it up against the roof. And I can see why they don't rate this roof with a lot of weight, is because just leaning on it, you can hear it crinkle. It's like leaning on basically any modern car on the hood. You can feel the flex, and you can feel it underneath you moving. So now I know why they're like, you can't put more than 220 pounds directly on the roof. With the rack, it's the number is completely different, but that's up to Ford to let everybody know about that. So we'll put some glue on this, get this pressed up into place. Then we will take these brackets, line them up, and put them in. I am not so sure what the exact plan is supposed to be on these holes here, because this goes down. The adapter on the inside sits in this channel because of the slope, right? Sits in that channel, and then you're supposed to drill or put their provided screws through these holes. Now their provided screws, and now I'm back to stepping on bubble wrap. Their provided screws are these. They look like either 1/4 inch or they look like either 1/4 inch or 5/16, probably 1/4 inch. These are really, really small, and there's 16 of them, which would correspond with, there's 4 of these, 4 holes per, so 16. So I'm assuming they want you to pop these in. Yeah, it looks like, if we can get in any closer to that, it looks like there should be, once this drills in, there'll be enough room for one to come in on the other side as well. And then these slightly longer ones go through here, go through this plate or this part of the plate and go into the interior framing of the van. They don't go through the roof, they go through the framing part. So that is the plan. We'll glue this up, get it braced, and then we'll start putting the screws in it. And then we'll think about going and getting the lift and getting that thing up on the roof of there. Woohoo! Sounds like fun times, huh? All right, here we are yet again. So we pulled down these cables, which was for the lights. And the lights are going to come out eventually anyway. Here's this cable for whatever that thing is. These are the brackets as I was talking about. So these metal brackets, they screw in to the frame, and then they screw into this metal brace, right? This 1x1 metal brace here. There's 4 screws. They do fit on each end. 2 screws here. You can see here, there's where the glue gooeyed out. I did glue it. If anything, it'll help keep this whole section of the roof from rattling when there's an air conditioner sitting on it. Adds more of a, I think it's more of a insulator at this point, less of a glue situation. The top piece is glued down, and I believe we are basically ready for the air conditioner. I did have to work a little bit to get this centered in the bay as best I could, just so it lines up. When I cut this hole up here, I'm just cutting the hole, not having and not hitting anything else. So that's the end goal there. But other than that, it is in there and the hole is ready to be cut. The lift is here. I just went and picked it up. This is called a cabinet lift. It will handle 400 pounds and will lift it 10 feet. So that should be sufficient. The truck, or the van's only 9 feet and a couple of inches. So we should be fine there. It's going to be about maximum for this, but you know, it should be okay. Probably going to end up calling over a grandchild or something to have them come help me at least guide it so that it doesn't fall off, because I can feel that this thing probably gets a little wibbly wobbly once it gets up towards its maximum lift. Shouldn't be too bad. I have it for the entire weekend. If I can get done with it today, that will be even better. But they close in a couple of hours, so yeah, you may not be able to get done with it today. But we'll give it a go. Why not, right? So we'll pick it up here later once we get a little further on in the progress here. All right, so here we are again. At this point, everything's done. Of course, there's no ceiling in the van at the moment, so not everything is done, but this is the bracket that the indoor unit, the plastic housing, mounts to. It contains all of the electrical connections go in here. This is where the vent comes down to, and this is it. It is bolted in, it's tight. It is holding everything up, and it works pretty well, I would say. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't film a lot of this. I'm gonna go up on top of the van now. Up the ladder for the 1800th time today. So I did not film a lot of this because there was a lot to it. You can see the gap underneath there. In the front is the adapter plus the seal that comes with the AC. In the back, you see their extension pads plus the pad that they provide with the AC to keep it up and keep it level, because a lot of this weight is in the back of this unit. I've had the cover off of it. It's pretty much right here in the middle, honestly. But it's on there. I cut that hole, did all of that, lap sealed it. These back pieces are not glued down. The adapters are not glued down. They are actually taped to the air conditioner unit. Because for the life of me, I could not, I just couldn't get couldn't get it figured out for whatever reason on where to put them and where to glue them to the roof. So we did it this way. But it's installed. It's installed. It's centered out. It is pretty tall. I'm gonna have to remeasure the van to see how much taller it is, because we're at 9.3 to the bars, 9.3 to here. This is gonna add another foot for sure, probably 10.3 or so. Probably 11 foot is gonna be a good sizable thing. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go grab one of my solar panels and put up here and see if it fits next to it or what I'm gonna end up having to do, because there's room between it and the Max Air fan for at least one, but I'll need another bar, and there's room in the back for a couple back there as well. But we're gonna see. We'll see. We'll get one of them up here and see what it looks like. But it's installed. The lift that I got for it that helped me along with family helped me was I rented it's called a cabinet lift. It holds 400 pounds and it's supposed to be 10 feet, but it's 10 feet if you flip the arms over, versus the way they're like a cup kind of thing, like you were scooping something up. That only goes up at about 8.5 feet. You have to flip those arms over, and then that will get you to your full 10-foot height. The problem with that is the underside of the arms are slightly sloped, so you do have to put a strap on this to hold it to the lift, which is what we did. And then I had a board across here, just a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. It's about a foot and a half wide. And at that point, what I did was we just laid it across here, raised the whole unit up to that height with the lift, and just slid it off the lift right onto the board while somebody was holding the lift in place to make sure it didn't move. And then we got the lift out of here. I returned it. So I only needed the lift for a couple hours. And then I just slid the board over to where it was right next to where the gasket and the adapter are, because the gasket that comes with the air conditioner, the directions are to attach it to the air conditioner. But for this situation, instead, what I did is I attached its gasket to the adapter instead. And of course the adapter had been lap sealed beforehand, but I attached it to there instead because it was going to be a bear. And even we did attach the back gasket to the air conditioner, and that was a giant pain because apparently it's got a lot of grip. Just sliding it off the board and moving it around so that it lines up was quite the to-do. What I ended up doing is we slid it over, got it as close as we could get it. Then I went inside with the bolts and lined up their holes with the holes in the adapter and the adapter plate that's on the roof, and just shimmied the thing around until everything lined up and the bolts could go straight through. Once everything was moved around, it went straight on. I grabbed the inside plate and used 2 bolts to hold it in place in the front, just loosely in there so I could still lift it and stuff. And then I slid the back plates underneath it, lifted it up, slid them underneath with VHB tape on them, slid them under there, and then let the air conditioner's own weight is attaching those. So it should be okay. I don't see any reason that it needs to be anything other than that. You know, if I feel like it moves too much or something, because right now it's pretty, it does wiggle a little bit, but I mean, it's going to wiggle regardless. It's almost 100 pounds sitting on this roof, so it's going to wiggle, balancing the way it is. But the soft start is installed. It's installed. And all I need to do is the bracket's going to hold it and keep it squeezed down. Once we go to put the ceiling in, then I will take the bracket down, put the ceiling in, and then we'll do the final squeeze the ceiling, put the bracket back on and squeeze it up against the ceiling. And then the air conditioner will be done. And the max fan will be done completely. But now I think we're pretty much done with on the roof, except for solar panels. And I have not decided yet on the solar panels what to do about that situation, other than trying to find a good spot, a good hole here somewhere, and just, you know, like this hole that's here, take that tape off, put the gland on top of here, fill it full of tape and sealant, and VHB that sucker down. You know, or yeah, probably just VHB it down will be the most direct route. But I'll end up having to pile on the VHB to fill in, because this is all at an angle, unfortunately. And there's no getting around that. I've looked. There's a guy in Australia that makes these adapters for this that fit just over these holes and they come up. But he's in Australia. There is somebody here that makes one. I think I saw one somewhere, but they're single gland, or they're single cable. And of course there's 2 wires for a solar panel. So, you know, it is what it is. We either have to see if we can find a plan somewhere, a 3D plan that I can print, or just put on the one that I got and call it good. But everything should be set. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to put them below. If you have any questions about any further details about this, I'd be glad to answer them. If you have any suggestions, put them in the comments for anybody that goes and sees this video. They might need suggestions as well, you know, to help them down this path as well. Lighter air conditioner would be my suggestion. I wanted one with a heater and an AC. That's why this one's an inverter, and that's why it weighs more. Straight AC, no inverter, just a plain Jane AC is smaller than this, but not terribly smaller, and doesn't have heat unless you add one of their heat packs, and those heat packs are expensive. So I decided all-in-one is the way to go. But this is it. This is it attached to the ceiling, and I still got to take the yellow tape off the front of it, and I keep forgetting. And I'm going to do that right now. And thank you again for watching.